Hello and welcome to Camp Xtras. The Spece Invaders series has been around since 1978 and is still one of the most recognizable games of all time. Over the years, Spece Invaders has constantly popped back up, and one of those ways it popped back up was with Spece Invaders Extreme. I played the PSP version recently, and let me tell you how that went and give you some history. All footage was captured from a PSP, and let's go ahead and hop into this one. Spece Invaders was first released in Japan in 1978 and became a smash hit, and it continued to be a hit when it went global. A simple game by today's standards where you're just a cannon and you shoot at aliens above you, but back then it captured the world. Over the years, developer and publisher Taito would keep reinventing it. It would get a sequel and have multiple special releases, and it was always nice to check out such a simple game after games were getting more and more complex. Well, in 2008, Spece Invaders would be hitting its 30-year milestone, and the team at Taito would be working on a new entry to prepare for that. This entry would take inspiration from games like Lumines and Meteos and incorporate music into a handheld experience. It would first be shown and playable at Tokyo Game Show in 2007, and outlets like IGN were excited for the release of this new entry, though at that point an American publisher had not been on board yet. The game would circle various events and pop up everywhere, generating positive buzz during previews, and ultimately would get a publisher with Square Enix outside of Japan. It would be released first in Japan for the PSP and DS on February 21st, 2008, with an eventual North American release on June 17th, and it would come out in Europe and Australia in July. I have played plenty of Spece Invaders before, but never this version. So when I saw this PSP version at my local GameStop, I had to pick it up and try it. So I played through it, and let me tell you how that went, starting with the gameplay.
Stage cleared.
Spece Invaders Extreme takes that core design of Spece Invaders and definitely makes it extreme. You have your cannon at the bottom and the aliens form around you. The gameplay of shooting and eliminating all the aliens is there, but they throw in many more elements on top of that. Though the controls stay the same where you move with the stick or D-pad left and right and you shoot with X. It feels good, it's simple, and it doesn't need to be anything else. It's a perfect controlling arcade game. The gameplay structure is what makes this game. So every time you kill aliens, a new one will fly in, and it can be a mix of things. One might explode when hit, another might rush down to attack you. Some might be giant and others might be tiny. There's a solid variety to them, and you want to get to them fast. Shooting each one builds up a combo, and the better your combo, the better your score. And the better your score, the stronger you become. And that may sound like a lot, but at its core, it's just about being fast and accurate, kind of like the original. Honing those skills to keep that score up. That constant flow of progression helps not only in the moment, but keeps a replay factor because a session is generally fast and it's highly addictive, so it's great to pick up and play on the go. On top of all this, there are different paths to take. Once you beat a level, you can move on to another set of levels, and it moves out like a pyramid formation. Once you beat all the stages, you unlock an even harder version of the game. So there are things to unlock, but not a ton. Other than the arcade mode, you get multiplayer, and that's it. So if you were expecting a lot of minigames or anything like that, you will not be getting more to do. It's an arcade game at heart and stays that way, which I do wish there was a little bit more, but what's here is at least fun. The multiplayer on top of that is nice and is a simple versus mode to stay alive, and there is even a bot to play with, though the bot is very easy. One of the coolest parts of this experience is the color matching in the main game. If you hit 4 aliens of a certain color and then hit 4 more aliens of a different color, you unlock a colorful UFO, and if you hit that UFO, you unlock a special game. Usually it's shooting down a number of fast-moving enemies or trying to kill a specific one. You get a timer, and if you beat the timer, you get a massive power upgrade for a little bit, allowing you to blast through the game and get your score up. It's an awesome mix of being thoughtful to be rewarded with fast action. It's a small bit of the game, but does make a huge difference in the end, especially with the difficulty in this game. This game is no slouch, and you will be dodging around constantly, but that difficulty and replay factor is part of what makes it work. Dying and losing is not devastating because you can retry from where you're at, and it lets you try again, but you're power goes down, so you do lose something, but you can keep pushing on. There are other small bits like the power-ups you can pick up that give you special weapons, but this is about it for gameplay. It's small, simple, and easy to play, perfect for a handheld experience. It makes it so you can easily take this out of your pocket, play a few rounds, put it back in your pocket, and then move on to the rest of your day. However, the arcade style will keep you wanting to pull the PSP out of your pocket to get more time in. I think this is a fun and inventive way to revitalize a classic, and I enjoyed the gameplay. It's arcadey fun mixed with the flashiness of Luminous.
Round completed.
In Spece Invaders Extreme, audio and visuals collide to make something hypnotic. This game uses a pulse-pounding EDM score. The PSP version features various DJs who come in and make tunes, and the blend of artists gives the music a ton of variety. One stage will be completely different from another, but in the end, all of it is a fun, eclectic mix. If you're like me and love some good electronic music, you're going to have some fun with this, and be sure to plug in your headphones because it's an immersive experience. What's fun too is the classic shooting noises and the invader movement noises are incorporated into the music here, giving it a nostalgic feeling. It also includes sound effects in the music, so all the game's sound effects match it. This goes well with the visuals as well, which, like the music, are flashy and in your face. I won't lie, when I first booted up this game, it took me a few moments to get used to the visuals. And I believe some people are not going to like it because it is a bit distracting, and it can get in the way of gameplay. But once you get used to it, it kind of blends together. You get into a groove and it becomes a fun sight. There's a lot of creativity with a nice mix of a bunch of different backgrounds, and it matches a nice flashy DJ style. I also love the nostalgic usage of the aliens. They look crisp here, and everything comes together to be a nostalgic mix of the past and an EDM future. It's a match made in heaven, and it feels like the core of the experience is audio and visual, wanting to take a look back at the last 30 years and then reinvent itself a bit, all coming together to make something both entertaining and unique on the console. Spece Invaders Extreme is a nice, simple arcade experience for the PSP. It has that classic feeling from the simplicity of the core gameplay to the old-school sound effects and music, creating a nice ode to the past. Yet, it had a great way of implementing handheld puzzle styles at the time, with mesmerizing visuals and great electronic music. Not only that, but the fun gameplay enhancements made this one easier to go back to over and over. It might lack on content. I can give some leeway due to the fact that it's so easy to replay, and it is a handheld experience, and it's a great one at that. I have now reviewed 12 PSP games here on Camp Xtras, and ranking them all up, this one enters in at number 5. It's a much better game than Secret Agent Clank in terms of replayability. Clank had some issues with the core gameplay as well, and I don't think Spece Invaders has any core gameplay issues. Yet, Loco Roco goes above this one just based on the creative freshness that Loco Roco brings, and it still even feels fresh to this day. Spece Invaders Extreme received generally favorable reviews on Metacritic with a score of 84 for the PSP version. IGN gave it an 8.5, calling it a certified hit and a steal at only $20, though they did say the DS version was better. Electronic Gaming Monthly gave it an A- and 2 B+. The consensus seemed to be that it was addictive and they loved the style, though they thought the visuals in the PSP version were a bit too much. In a brief review, Game Informer gave it an 8.25 and was positive overall, calling it a refit of an all-time classic. Despite some great reviews, it seems the game wasn't flying off the shelves, though it is hard to get great estimates for sales for some of these handheld games. According to VG Charts, this game sold around 90,000 copies worldwide for the PSP and 150,000 for the DS. Maybe the sales are part of the reason the sequel never made it onto the PSP. So yeah, this game did get a sequel, but it has also reappeared on various Spece Invader collections over the years, as well as getting an Xbox Live release back in the day. That said, this game does get very high praise from those who played it, and looking around, it seems there's a lot of fond memories for this one. On Backlogged, it has a high rating of 3.6 out of 5 with over 500 plays. The reviews overall are very positive, and it seems this one has left a legacy. So let me know if you've ever played this one. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And be sure to let me know what I should cover next. Be sure to leave a like as it really helps me out in the algorithm, subscribe to keep up with more gaming content like this, and check out my main channel, Camp Xbox, for retro Xbox content, and I'll see you here next time at Camp Xtras.